Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. And well, Cardano is still not doing anything. However, we actually tested the 200-day moving average again, and we seem to be getting a bounce again. So this is the fourth time we are getting a bounce, and we'll see if this continues or not. I don't think it will continue because I still think Bitcoin will drop, and if Bitcoin drops, this will continue going lower, and at some point I think we will still test the trend line right here, and the trend line is at about 63 cents. So yeah, I'm expecting another low. Now of course that would make the fourth wave move down extremely deep, but it is what it is. And I mean, this pattern right here is already a diagonal, so it doesn't really matter if we invalidate it and if we somehow get another low in the second wave. But to do that, we would have to break below the trend line. So it's actually very important that we test it, in my opinion, because we are already below the bull market support band and we are at the 200-day moving average, meaning that if we drop below this, we might as well test it. And honestly, I think it's going to happen because, like I said, Ethereum and Bitcoin are expected to drop, and I mean, we are not doing anything on the Bitcoin chart either. We are still below the 200-day moving average, and I know things are boring, but I did tell you a couple of days ago not to watch these videos because they are going to be boring. However, I have something else to talk about in this video, and this is the Fear and Greed Index. So this is a new chart that I found on Google. It's from CoinGlass, and right now, as you can see, the Fear and Greed Index pretty much went to about, well, actually let's zoom in on this. So it went to about 16, and we were at about $84,000 when this happened. And I actually want to look at what happened in the previous couple of times when we went to the Fear and Greed levels that were, as low as they are right now. So let's check this out. For example, here we have the first example. Here is when the Fear and Greed Index was at about 20, and right here would have been a good buying opportunity. During this time, Bitcoin dipped to about $55,000, and this was in September of 2024. And if you look at what happened after that, I mean, it went to like, let's say $98,000. Well, no, it actually went to about $100,000 by the end of November. So 2 months from this point, it went up like almost 2x. So this right here could have been a good buying opportunity. And yeah, we're trying to learn from the data here, so let's see what happens before this. I mean, right here, the Fear and Greed Index was at like 23, and this was during the bear market. And of course, the bear market is the best time to buy Bitcoin, in my opinion, not right now. But if you want to buy Bitcoin right now, I mean, do what you do, I'm not gonna stop you. But here, the Fear and Greed Index was at like 30, and Bitcoin was $20,000. And of course, in the short term, this would not have been a good buying opportunity. However, in the long term, I mean, Bitcoin went from like $20,000 right here all the way up to like $100,000, and as you can see, the Fear and Greed Index were as low as they are right now. But maybe we should not really compare this to a bear market. Maybe we should compare this move right now to what was happening during the bull market. And if we do that, if we look at this right here, this drop that pretty much started in April of 2021 and it lasted until July of 2021 also made the Fear and Greed Index be extremely low, and we stayed in the 20s range for a couple of months. And during this time, Bitcoin dropped to about $30,000, and then after that we still went higher, and we went up like 2x after that. So maybe this is what we're doing right now. Maybe we are just waiting for everyone to sell, and then when everybody has sold, we are going to run out of sellers, and then when we run out of sellers, that's when Bitcoin goes up. I mean, it happened here and it happened here as well. So when people are the most fearful, that's when Bitcoin usually goes up. And also, why am I talking about Bitcoin in a Cardano video? Well, because it's important, and I mean, these charts right here are also very important, and nobody seems to be talking about them. And even if you zoom right here, if you zoom in 2020, the Fear and Greed Index went to like 8, and during this time, Bitcoin dropped to like $5,000. Now, of course, there was a pandemic going around here, but this would have been a good buying opportunity because if you zoom out, I mean, it went from like $5,000 all the way up to like $30,000 just in the first year or so. Well, no, I mean, from this low to this high right here, I mean, it went up like 10x. So it would have been a good buying opportunity again. And even here, when Bitcoin was at like $3,000 and the Fear and Greed Index was at like 12, it went up to like $13,000 a couple of months later. So please do not fall for this trap. And I'm not saying that a left translated peak is not possible, but I mean, if you look at the history of what happened, I mean, I think it's pretty safe to assume that a big pump is coming, and I think it's coming, very, very soon, but we might have to wait for another low before it comes. And honestly, if Bitcoin drops to like $75,000 or $69,000 in the next couple of days, I would not be surprised. I mean, the market is clearly waiting for something to happen, and as you know, the Fed meeting is on March 19th, meaning that we are most likely not going to do anything until then. But also, I mean, we could get a drop until then, and I mean, this drop will not only, occur in the crypto market, but it will happen in the other markets as well. For example, the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the stocks as well. Everything is dropping right now, and if everything is dropping, maybe the Fed will have a reason to finally start QE, and if we start QE, I mean, that will trigger the altcoin season. That's what triggered the altcoin season in 2021, and also Bitcoin dominance is still going sideways right now. It's still at about 62%, and it cleverly managed to get above the previous highs right here, which is actually very bullish because this actually happened in the previous cycle, and it happened at the exact same time of the cycle. Here in February and in March, Bitcoin dominance was going sideways for about 2 months, and then after that we started dropping, and yeah, it dropped like, let's say, about 21% in a matter of 2 months. Well, not even 2 months, less than that actually. So I mean, the altcoin season will happen, but when it does happen, you have to be prepared for it because it's not going to last too long. You cannot expect the altcoin season to last an entire year, and honestly, it could even last like 2 weeks, and Bitcoin dominance during that time could drop to like 40%, and that could be it. That could be the low, and then we go up again. And I mean, of course, maybe we are not going to do that, but maybe we are going to do that, and you have to be prepared for all of these scenarios. Also, if you look at the Ethereum chart, Ethereum is still going down, and it's not reacting to the 0.618 support level, meaning that we will most likely drop to the next support level unless something actually happens here. And I think we could get a bounce if we actually start QE on March 19th, but until then we could always go lower, and you have to keep in mind we just had a cross on the bull market support band, and I did tell you when this happened that this is not really that bullish, and I mean, that turned out to be true. I even told you this about Bitcoin, and this also turned out to be true. So I think we just go sideways for a couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens with this. And if you look at the Cardano chart, Cardano is actually holding up quite well. I mean, compared to some other altcoins, it actually held this 1-2 setup here, and maybe we're about to get another low in the second wave. It doesn't really matter if we do, because even if we do, it's, very unlikely that we invalidate the 1-2 setup. The invalidation point for this 1-2 setup is at like 27 cents. And we could even drop to this next trend line right here at like 30 cents. Of course, I'm not saying that we will, but I mean, if we do, and if we drop to this trend line to test it and drop like 32 cents, that will not invalidate the 1-2 setup. It will still be valid, and at some point we will still need a third wave of the third wave. So Cardano is looking very, very good, and unless we start a bear market right now, I still see it, getting to all-time highs by the end of the year. I know I've been saying that for quite some time now, and people are losing patience, but it is what it is. It is crypto, and you need patience in crypto. You cannot expect to make like $5 million in 2 weeks. Of course, that happens to some people. They make a lot of money in a very short time, and then they go ahead and lose it all because they do not have any idea how they made the money in the first place. And yeah, I mean, this happened in the previous cycle as well. People accidentally made money when the altcoins were going up because, let's say, they bought up here at like 40 cents, and yeah, Cardano went to like $2.40 in the short term, and of course they did not sell here, and they just waited for Cardano to go to like $5 or $80 or $500 by the end of the cycle, because that's what the crypto influencers were saying. And what the people who bought at 40 cents down here did not sell at the top when they were up like almost 9x, and they just held the altcoin during the bear market, and they never took any profits, and it dropped like 22 cents, meaning that even though they bought down here, they still lost money because they lost like 50% of their money, and of course they sold sold down here because of course they did, that's what people do. So even if you make money by accident, if you don't know why you are making that money and you know what happens in the market when you make that money, then you are going to lose it anyway if you invested. So please make your own research and please do not listen to these idiot crypto influencers. And of course you could say the exact same thing about me. Maybe I'm going to be wrong. I mean, so far I have been pretty right about Cardano, but maybe this is not going to play out exactly like I say it will. And again, you have to know this is not financial advice, so whatever I say, it's just for educational, well, it's not for educational purposes, it's actually for entertainment purposes. So I mean, whatever I say, it's only here to help you, you know, at least make some kind of decision. And maybe if you don't want to make a decision, just don't make a decision. So yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say. My opinion, I think the market will still go down. And I know things are boring and not many people are going to watch these videos. And honestly, it's actually kind of difficult to make them because there's not much going on. But you know, I have started making daily Cardano videos since like July of last year. So I want to keep my streak going and I want you to learn as we go. So yeah, I mean, if nothing happens, then I'm still going to make videos because you have to suffer to the pain in order to, you know, finally get this move, in order for, you know, a move like this to pay off when it finally happens. So we'll see what happens. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.